everyone, welcome to the new video. So previous video was on we were analyzing our answers. So today video is also on that and it's part 2 because why I'm bringing up this video is because now when I've started realizing that what are the expectations of the interviewer, they they also know that they know that you know things, and they're interviewing 10 people for the same post. But what makes you stand out from those 10 people is your answers. So if they are asking that how have you worked on troubleshooting the Kubernetes pod issues, and you're just simply adding to status, that won't make you stand out because all the 10 peoples are answering the same thing. What will make you stand out is when you add as many scenarios as possible. So today's question is also something which is generally asked to people, and they miss the important term. Sometimes they miss to add few things, due to which it makes them understand that yes, you know about it, but uh, your answer was not something which tells them that you actually worked on it and you know deeply about it. That is where we are failing. So today we will see one of the answer, uh, that we should that how to tackle it in a very detailed way. So without further ado, let's go. So this question is, which is majorly asked, that how requests flow from load balancer to ingress. So load balancer is something which is exposed outside, and ingress is something which works inside the Kubernetes cluster. So first of all, you need to explain the difference between the two. Okay, and load balancer and ingress work together. So load balancer helps in exposing the URL outside to the user. So after explaining the difference, then start with once the user hit the URL. So it has public IP, it has DNS, and it load balancer can be any load balancer like AWS ELB, NLB, GCP LB, Azure LB. So LB has, because it has public IP and DNS, it is ready to receive traffic from internet. And once it receives the traffic, according to the target groups, it has the configured target groups. Like if EKS is configured, then it will pass on or forward the traffic to the EKS cluster. Now when it forwards the traffic to the EKS cluster, inside the Kubernetes cluster, we will have Kubernetes cluster, we will have the ingress controller. So ingress controller can be Nginx, can be traffic, can be HA proxy. So that we need to define that load balancer just forwards the traffic to the service, and ingress controller receives the request. Once the ingress controller receives the request, there are ingress rules which are defined in a ingress resources. So ingress controller reads ingress resources, that what host, what path, when we receive the request, which service it should be directed to, which backend service it should be directed to. So whatever host, it can be host based routing or it can be path based routing. So two type of routing you need to explain. So host based routing is where we have like app.example.com, or path based routing is like /API/web. So these two routing can be is configured with the backend service. So if suppose the URL is having API or the host is app.example, so whatever corresponding service it has been configured, that service sends the like it decides that where the request will be sent to. Now from in the backend service, what happened, like we will have the backend service like cluster ip or node port ip, whatever it is. So ingress controller requests to the mass service, and service use queue proxy to load balance to the pod. So whatever pod is present in that particular cluster, or that particular inside the cluster, if the cluster ip, it will load balance whatever pod at that time according to the availability. It will pass on the traffic to that pod. So now the request reaches the actual application pod, and application process the request and response flow back from the same path. So this is the proper answer that we need to follow while answering this question, load balancer to ingress. First of all, there should be difference defined between the two. Then we should tell that what load balancers can be used and why load balancer is used, because it has public IP and just forwards the traffic. Then what ingress controller are we using, then what type of routing is available, what kind of rules we can define. Then the rules defined are like transferring the traffic to the backend service, and how the how the request reaches to pod, and how the response flows back. Okay, so this is a end-to-end flow, like clients and request your application domain, requests go to the load balancer forward the request to the ingress controller service inside the Kubernetes cluster. Ingress controller receives the request, ingress controller check ingress rules, and request is forwarded to the Kubernetes service. Service load balances the request to a healthy pod, and pod processes the request and sends the response back to the client. You also need to mention about the queue proxy because it deals with the networking part. So these all things, if you mention in your answer, for sure your answer will stand out. So yeah, that's all. That's all for today's video. I hope it's helpful. Please let me know views in the comment section. Till then, take care. Bye.